Hi everyone, I'm here with former state prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Ray Zuppa. He was kind enough to meet with me today and answer some of my questions because I had read a New York Post article that you were quoted in back in March of 2025 about Natasha Jugo or Jugo.
I pronounce it Jugo. Okay. I have no idea,
Okay.
I
well, I don't want to say her name incorrectly because
I think her best friend
victim.
called her,
because I want to
Natasha. Yeah.
Okay, Natasha, because I want to make sure her, because it's important that that you don't feel that her death was a suicide, and that you have you've been investigating all of this since before Rex Heuermann was arrested, and you don't feel her death was a suicide, and you've been basically looking at all of these unsolved homicides here, particularly on Long Island. And the reason why I wanted to do this video was because I really want to keep the public engaged and put public pressure on, I guess, law enforcement or the authorities, because I feel that's probably a good way to help get these cases attention and help to get them solved. So you were kind enough to come here today. I know we talked a little bit in emails before I came, and you had told me that law enforcement had known for months that, I guess it was Rex, but they were building a case before arresting him, but acted when, I think this might have been in the post, or maybe it was in the email, that looked like he was lining up a new victim, which is why Maureen wasn't included in the first indictment. So what kind of behavior or actions or attitude was he exhibiting that made law enforcement feel like he's going to act? Like, what was he doing that was different than a normal routine that he's going to strike?
He was setting up dates with escorts.
Okay.
And they're not going to give you all the information right now.
Right.
But it looked like it was starting to fit the pattern of the Gilgo 4. Of course, the Gilgo 4, those are the 4 that we have the most information thanks to electronics and
right.
His internet searches and texts and reaching out. And it looked like, I suspect, I'm not sure, I suspect maybe his family was planning on going on vacation. That would have been the trigger.
Right.
Okay, so his family's going to go on vacation, and now he's really reaching out.
Okay.
But, it's a funny line, and it comes from fiction, but sometimes art tells a lot about reality. And in the great Netflix show, Mindhunter, and Ed Kemper says, and he really did say this,
right.
It strikes me that your knowledge of serial killers is based upon those you've caught.
Right.
So
yeah,
we got the whole story now that when the family leaves town, that's when he kills. And it makes a lot of sense because he's not a sex killer, he's a torturer.
Right.
And that gives him the opportunity to convert that basement
right.
into that torture chamber because his family's not there. And it looks like unfortunately, it really looks like he kept them for days and days. And, but we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandra Casilla in 1993, it just, not only is it so far back in time, but it's a pre-Manorville case with no dismemberment.
Okay, yeah.
And, and although it does look like he had use of his home for her.
Right. Well, you had, I think, mentioned to me that you were getting resistance from law enforcement and even the media about or trying to reopen these cases. Why is that? Even you said county attorneys, like all that, have been resistant.
Yeah, they've been very resistant, and some of them have been outright nasty about it.
Really hostile? Really?
Yeah, hostile, and you don't. It's quite evident. In Nassau County, I mean, the county attorney was insinuating that I was some kind of a weirdo.
Okay.
Because I wanted this information, and you have to understand FOIL.
Right, the
Freedom of Information. Okay, you, as a citizen,
right,
are entitled to this information.
Right.
The case law in this, the highest court, Court of Appeals, says that you don't need to show need.
Right.
Now, there was one case involving 9/11 tapes.
Right.
where they actually went against themselves and said you need to have a public need that outweighs the privacy interest. But the law generally is you don't have to have a need.
Okay.
And that's one thing that gets me is because I'm not working with the family.
Right.
So all of a sudden it's like, well, you're not working with the family. Well, it's not about the family. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's about the public's right to know about the competency of our law enforcement investigations. It's your public right because you have to live on these streets. You pay taxes for these streets. Right. You have your children on these streets. You have a right to know about the competency. And they don't like me because I'm pointing out the incompetency of their investigations. And that's why you have a lot of resistance, because the police unions own Long Island, Suffolk, and Nassau. Probably Suffolk more than Nassau, but I don't know. It's like which of the three stooges is more stupid?
Okay, so I know that you said you filed an administrative appeal against the medical examiner that you won. Tell us about that, the administrative. This is about Natasha.
Yes, it started out, I started out before they caught Rex, really focusing on solving the Gilgo case, the so-called Gilgo case, Rex Uerman, before it was known as Rex Uerman. It was LISK. And I knew all along it was one killer, by the way. Right away I knew it was one killer, and that's another interesting story. But the medical examiner, I just asked, you're not allowed to have an autopsy unless you're a family member.
Okay.
Or you're doing it on behalf of a family member. And I understood that. But there are ancillary documents, other forms that they fill out that are part of the process that aren't the actual autopsy.
Okay.
So I asked for that, and I specifically said, I don't want the autopsy report. I know the law prevents me from getting that, okay? And they came back and they denied. They said, you're not allowed the autopsy. And they cited the same law that I cited to saying, I'm not asking for the autopsy. So I came back and I appealed. I said, whoa, read my papers.
Right.
I said, I'm not entitled to the autopsy. Okay, so what I did get was some of those ancillary documents. And what I find interesting, this is my first page because I was going through the records, and I know this case so well, but something struck me about the ME, some of the documentation. This is the handover of Natasha's body to her mom, really through the funeral home. And she was about 5'7", 125, 130 pounds, around that.
Right.
Okay, slender, but still a curvy girl.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful girl. When they released her,
right,
she was 5'1", 81 pounds.
Oh my God.
If she went through that I don't know how decomposition, because if you touch your head, that's bone. You touch the bottom of your feet, you got a little pad, and it's bone.
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming decomposition, if that's her, shrank her by 6 inches. But the weight of 81 pounds from like 130, how are you recognizing that as Natasha Jugo the very night that she's recovered? And I know everything about this stuff. So, granted, when you pull a body out of the water relative to the air temperature, the water is cooler. You go through a decomposition crash.
Right.
Okay, which really ticks me off. It took so long for the medical examiner to get there.
Right.
She was laying on the beach for hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you don't do that. When you get them out of the water, you want that medical examiner right there. So, to me, if that's her that they released, she was, and they call her a skeleton. How do you recognize a skeleton as Natasha?
Right.
See, that's why I wanted the photos. That's why I'm still fat. That's why I'm appealing.
All right. Do you know if there was water in? Well, I don't know. If she was just a skeleton, I would say like water in her lungs. But if she's just a skeleton, or she wasn't, I don't know. Like I just don't.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. The homicide detective that writes the report says that she's found laying on the sand, only wearing a red bra.
Right.
That's it. The two boys and girl, when I say two boys and girls, they were like 21, 22 years old, that found her, said she was wearing a shirt, a bra, and pants.
Okay.
That's a big inconsistency.
Right.
That's a tremendous inconsistency. The medical examiner who gets there hours later said she was advanced decomposition.
Okay.
Advanced decomposition clinically means you're seeing some bone, but there's still a lot of flesh. Let me tell you, I don't want to skip ahead.
No, go ahead. All right. Well, whatever you feel like you need to say.
Well, when a body drowns in cold water,
Right.
something below 7 degrees Celsius in the water, when she allegedly entered on March 16th, 2013, the water was about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. I did the computations. It was about 2 degrees to 3 degrees Celsius. When a person goes into the water and drowns, they sink to the bottom, face down, even in warm water.
Okay.
They do. I experimented in my pool. There's bacteria in the gut that anaerobically, not aerobically because there's no oxygen, anaerobically eats away at the inside. That creates methane, which turns your stomach into a balloon, just like the photos of dead soldiers at like Gettysburg.
Right.
That floats the body up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
When the water is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, you're way below that limit. It's not going to rise. Which, 3.5 months.
Right.
Which leads me to the other question. If she's that decomposed, where's the balloon?
Right.
Where's the stomach that's going to hold that methane? Now, bones do wash ashore, but it's just very, very anomalous.
Right.
It doesn't really comport with science, although science is just tendency.
Right. You had said that her parents really believe her death is a suicide, and they don't believe it's or at least maybe her sister did, and they're pretty firm. And I know her parents are deceased now, but
tell you exactly. Her mom Maria is still alive. She's in her 80s.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk to her.
Okay.
She had to pick up the body.
Right. It was a lot. Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to her.
Right. It's out of respect for her. Yeah.
Father died within 2 years. Now, I mean, the tragedy may have been part of it. I don't know. I know he was ill at the time that she went missing. I got a female, former law partner of mine, who's an arbitrator now. Just the softest, sweetest voice.
Okay.
And she's very spiritual. And we went over the case. Okay. And we scripted it out. But my name is Eva. Right. I'm working with a former prosecutor, and we're looking into suspicious and unsolved deaths here on Long Island. And before she get even that far into the script, Natasha's sister, Dolores, said, my sister died from suicide. I'm in a restaurant. And she didn't hang up, but she was that abrupt. And what are you going to do, argue with her?
Right.
So they believe, and I talked to her, her best friend.
Right.
And I mean, they believe it's suicide.
All right. I know, but you definitely don't know. I saw the videos that you had made, and everyone can see them on YouTube. And then the second video in Dystopia, you go through the whole thing, so anyone can just go and just watch that on YouTube.
It's a little. The kids got a little dramatic.
It's okay. They're young.
That's their last documentary. They want to do dramas, obviously.
They want to do dramas. Okay.
Dramas and comedies.
Do you think whoever killed her staged it to look like a suicide because they knew she was diagnosed schizophrenic? Is that why it was, or they just said it because it was just easier to say she killed herself?
That's a very good theory, and it's the theory I'm looking at right now.
That it was staged because they knew, but who would know that? Outside maybe her family and friends, who would know that?
I call it steered.
Okay.
Everybody seemed eager to steer it towards suicide.
Okay.
To the extent that Nassau, and it's in the video.
Right.
Talks to a plastic surgeon who's 30 years her senior.
Okay.
30 years older than her.
Right.
About married, ultra wealthy, lives in the like the Manhasset area,
Oh, the Gold Coast and
the
stuff.
Gold Coast, yeah, and like a house. My background, everybody, and he talks to the Nassau County Police Department, this plastic surgeon, and he said she was what's the word I'm looking for? Obsessed with suicide by drowning. Right away, well, okay, close the case, right? You think that, why is this man who was 30 years older, or about 30 years, maybe
Right.
he's like 28, who's married, ultra wealthy,
Right.
why is he sticking his nose into it? How would he know as a plastic surgeon? Now, she did get a nose job I got from her friend.
Okay, so she did get some
She
plastic.
got some work, but
Was it from him?
I don't know. I'm assuming,
Right.
but that's not the psychiatrist.
Right. Yeah, he's just a plastic surgeon. Like, she wouldn't tell, like, I don't know if you tell a plastic
No,
surgeon
she
that.
wouldn't
It's
tell
something
her.
you tell a
And
psychiatrist.
why would he stick his neck out like that? Why would he? Because she's beautiful,
Right.
and I don't know what she did.
Right.
I don't know. I can't say anything because without information, you know what I mean. Except that talking to a friend. But what's he doing with her?
Right. It's just more questions.
If she's unstable
Okay.
and something's going on, and he's married,
Right.
it's millions of dollars. That's as far as I'm going.
Okay, then I get it, because you without any kind of evidence, you can't start making acting. You can't
No.
make.
Look, as a prosecutor building a case, I would go through all that, and then I would say, there's one
Right.
possibility, and but he'd be one amongst 10.
Right. Yeah.
So that's.
Right. Do you think her car being found in Nassau County, but like really like 30 feet from the Suffolk County line,
Exactly 30 feet.
Was that done on purpose to cause like more confusion and chaos between the different counties for Nassau and Suffolk police, and then she lives in Queens, so now it's got to be New York Homicide has or New York Police Department? Was that done on purpose, or it was just?
I don't know. I can
Okay.
tell you this:
Okay.
Ocean Parkway in the eastbound direction was severely closed.
Right.
Her car was on the roadway, a mound of construction dirt about the
Right.
size of a house
Right.
and a sand dune. It was described variously as being bottomed out,
Okay.
not even parked.
Right,
Like it was so.
Yeah.
So she couldn't go any further.
Right.
Okay, east, because it was not just closed like sign. This road is closed.
Right.
It was piles of huge mounds of dirt.
Right. All right. So that.
So, why? Which leads me, why is she driving out there?
When you said there was like a bay close to her that was like what, 4 minutes away or something?
We timed it from her house. 5 minute total walk. I mean, drive and walk. You drive to just down the street, cul-de-sac. You get out. You walk up the stairs and you go across the bridge that crosses the Cross Island Parkway. You come down. It's beautiful. You got those. You've been there, probably passed it before on the Cross Island.
Probably.
You got those bike lanes.
Yes.
And you just hop in. You just walk into the bay. You don't jump in. You just walk right into the bay. It's 5 minutes exactly from her house. Drive and walk.
As opposed to coming all the way out where she did.
Yeah, how does she even know about Gilgo? Number one. Number two, it's closed. The street's closed. It's the
Right.
winter. Nobody's out there in the winter.
Right.
The road's closed. I mean, what? And she drive. Depending on traffic conditions, it's a 30-minute to 40-minute ride.
Yeah.
In the dark, it was misty.
Yeah.
And it was cold.
Yeah.
It was about 37 degrees, and it got down by the time she got there. Got down at that location. It was close to 30.
Wow. Yeah. So
With
it's
water about 35 degrees.
Yeah.
Who gets in their car, drives in the cold, freezing winter night
right.
for a half hour to this godforsaken place with dirt on the road blocking it, pulls on the side of the road. You got this thick bramble that's there in the winter just as much as the summer.
Right.
And it's all thorny, sticky vegetation. It's all like sticks.
Yeah.
It's pokey and it's very thick. Walks up through that
Right.
onto the beach, towards the surf. It's
Right.
dark. It's pounding surf.
Right.
Strips down, walks into 35-degree water, up to her head,
Right. Right.
and she can swim. Her friend told me.
Oh, she knows not how to swim.
She does know how to swim. So that means it's not drowning by walking in there and it sweeps you up and you can't swim, you drown.
Right.
It means you're swimming and you've got to intentionally take the kill breath of 35-degree water. She's not crazy either.
Right.
Because what she would do, she would hear voices in her head,
Right.
but she didn't believe them. Crazy as I hear a voice in my head that says, "Oh, you're Napoleon."
Right.
Oh, I am. And I start walking around like this. I said, "Let's invade Russia," right?
Right.
She was like, "Why? Go away. You know,
Right.
why do I have this condition? Why do I have,
Right. So, I saw the redacted photo of Natasha with, it looks like the rope. From the information you got from the medical examiner, does it mention any ligature marks or anything like that, or the rope?
No sign of anything except drowning. Except how is there a sign if there's no flesh of anything?
Right. It's
How are you
almost
going to
like
see ligature marks?
it's almost like the Shannon Gilbert case where it was declared,
It is a Shannon Gilbert case.
It
She was
is.
declared a suicide before they found the body.
Right.
And what makes it worse, and about the rope,
Right.
I'm getting there's an internet guy.
Okay.
You probably heard of Raul Montero.
Yes, I do know him. Yes.
Raul. Okay, so he gets close to a lot of different people. He's claiming that they're calling it a marine rope,
Okay.
which I don't know who told him that, but he's got somebody from the police department in Suffolk's talking to this guy, and I don't know why.
All right.
All right. Well, it's not like I didn't think of that.
Right.
Marine rope, right? But if you have a body that's decomposed, that's been out there for 3.5 months, are you going to tie a rope around it? You're going to break that body. You're going to...
Right. I don't
In fact, I'm reading a book right now about, it's really funny, about ancient homicides here on Long Island. Not ancient,
but like from the past.
1700s to the 1950s. And one of the bodies, they tied a rope around the waist when they dumped it in the ocean, and that split it in half.
Right.
So I could see these idiots doing that, but
Right.
I didn't think they would. The other thing is there was a big pylon that they put between the water, the kids that found her, and her body.
Right. Does law enforcement, the reports mention the rope? Because I mean, I saw the redacted photo, and this looks like there's something, whether it's around her waist, her legs, or
I don't know where it is around. I would imagine her head from the rectangle.
Right.
Here, it looked like the water would be at her feet,
Right.
and the rope was by her neck. Now, whether it went down further to the waist, I don't know.
Right.
Could the Marine unit was the first on the scene? They would have a Marine rope,
Right.
and would they tie it around her to make sure the body didn't go back out to sea? Perhaps, but that would be kind of a very stupid thing to do, because if she was severely decomposed, the rope would just rip her in half, and you don't want to disturb.
Right.
And again, no literature. Pronounce it ligature marks.
Right.
I think no bruising. You wouldn't even see a bullet wound
Right.
if she was that severely decomposed. And again, if she's 81 pounds from 130, how is she recognizable?
Right. That's hard to believe. Yeah, that's...
There's so many things that are hard to believe.
No, I agree. I do. There was some like earlier unsolved murders that kind of fit the LISK pattern, like Tina Folia, Tiffany Dixon, Sandra Acosta. In Tina's case, I know that there was like DNA from an unknown male that was found on the garbage bags, and there were footprints left by the killer. Was this unknown DNA tested against Rex Heuermann's DNA?
I don't know. I have to assume. I would hope, because the Gilgo task force is
Right.
now morphed into the cold case task force,
Okay.
and they've got a lot of federal money coming in.
Yeah, the 13 million.
A lot of federal money, and so they've expanded it. And from what last I heard from Tierney's lips was this is basically 388
Right. I heard
unsolved.
it was like around three. Yeah, I said
I
under
call it
390.
390.
Yeah.
But 388, over half male.
Mm-hmm.
If they're and there's supposed to be DNA cases, which tells me they're sex killings.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Although DNA, but back then, especially when these murders happened, DNA wasn't. Now they look for DNA on bullet casings. Even.
Right.
You got touch DNA, 9 cells. That's all you need. 9 skin cells.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Yeah.
so intense. But I would imagine they tested it. But here's the thing. Well, you really only have a shot at semen maybe on Amber,
Okay.
and you definitely have it on Valerie, and definitely on poor girl. What's her name again? The other 2003.
Jessica, Valerie.
Jessica and Valerie, you definitely have DNA. Jessica, you have a ton of DNA because she was recently found.
Right.
Valerie, you still have DNA. I know that. All Peaches too, you have DNA.
Tanya. Yeah.
And you would have DNA.
Right.
Now the fact that they found no semen, we know in Valerie and Jessica they found no semen. At least we know as of pretty. And I would imagine they didn't find any on Peaches. And then you read his manifesto.
Right.
Washing out all the orifices. Number 1, number 2, sexual substitution.
Right.
He may not have had sex with him. Which really creeps me out about, like some I'm not gonna name names, but some people in the internet community talking about John Bitroff.
Right.
It's so obvious that Sandra is not John Bitroff's victim. First of all, Rita and Colleen were beat about the head so badly that their brain was exposed. Okay? And not Sandra.
Right.
Rita and Colleen had so much semen, and most of it in their anus and rectum, because that was Bitroff's thing.
Right.
None with Sandra. So I knew back then
Right.
that Sandra was not Bitroff. Now, I know right now, I'm telling you right now, Bitroff killed. He could be another Rex.
Right. Okay, so the footprints found by the killer in Tina's case did those footprints match the ones found at Tobay Beach? Do you know that the ones were?
There was never a comparison.
There was never a comparison.
I would not know.
All right. Okay, so with I saw you in like one of the documentaries, the first one where you're seen leaving the Holiday Inn Express in Hauppauge, and you I guess you take the route I guess Megan took where she leaves the Holiday Inn Express in Hauppauge and like on June 6th at like 1:30 in the morning, and then she walks down the service road of the LA and goes into that mini mart in the Sunoco gas station. Were you able to obtain any video footage of her walking into the store? If there was someone there, she got into a car, any of that?
No, we talked to the person. He started laughing. He said, that was how many years ago?
Right, they don't have it. Yeah. So I also heard that Amber Costello was asked by a client to meet her at that same Holiday Inn a few weeks prior to her death, and she refused. Do you know why she refused? Did anyone? I don't know.
That's interesting information. I did not know that. I could tell you why she refused, because she probably didn't want to go out. If you read Coker's book, he's very good.
Okay.
I read Coker's book, and I was like 3/4 of the way after reading that book to knowing who did the killing. I just had to talk to Dave Schaller. I knew Dave was lying to Coker too, but they don't want to go on out calls, because out calls is where you get killed.
Right.
When you bring them into your hotel room, usually, and I've interviewed a number of escorts, and they have relationships with the hotel staff, the security, the front desk. They first of all, they're steady business. They're there every night.
Right. So
they're good customers. Number 2, they do grease them a little bit, which is fine. You're tipping them, right?
Okay.
And so they feel safe. She was using the house, and of course, she had that scheme.
Well, Dave was going to be like the jealous boyfriend with the baseball bat. Yeah.
Which they did.
Right.
And there was outrage in the sex community internet about how, someone's going to get her. She deserves to be killed for that. You don't do that. Right. I'm not going to be the one that kills her, but somebody will. So she definitely did that. And that's the problem with Dave. Dave never saw an interview that he wouldn't do. and never saw an interview where he didn't lie. So the original story and the statement to the police, because he was deathly afraid of the police, is true. They did do that ruse, as Tierney calls it. He's since has described it so many different ways.
Why would he lie after, like?
I'll tell you exactly why.
Okay.
Because they were supporting themselves and their drug habit off of her prostitution.
Okay.
Okay? Number one. Number two, if he showed up at the house
right.
to have sex with her,
right,
he was probably just going to have sex with her. But when they did that to him,
right.
made the decision, she was going to die.
Right, that's why he called her again.
He called her that night.
Yeah.
He texted her that night. And they found a folded shirt in her mouth.
Okay.
Which leads me to believe that this was especially heinous. I don't know how more heinous you can get in the torture of her. But he shoved a shirt in her mouth like that. That's kind of like a bad Google review.
Oh my God. I just can't imagine what she went through. I mean, I just try not to.
It's not imaginable. And it gets worse when you... This man, his selfishness was unbounded. He knew no morality, and nothing he could do would make him feel guilty. And so the worst scenario is what happened to Peaches and her daughter. That's and he was well read on serial killers. So to me, that is probably what Ted Bundy did at Lake Samish, where he kidnapped one woman, brought her to the apartment, kidnapped another woman, brought her to the same apartment, tortured and killed one woman in front of the other, and then did the same to the other.
I mean, law enforcement in different states, Massachusetts, Florida, are looking at maybe their unsolved cases and thinking maybe it could be attributed to Rex. And if that's true, I mean, that's just disturbing and troubling that he could do all of this in multiple states for decades and go undetected and like no one knows anything, and then we've been unsolved for so long. It's just mind-blowing and just disturbing to think about, and I don't understand how that could happen. I know, whatever, it was
infinitely solvable.
I know, because I know you go through it. I've seen the video. It
was infinitely solvable. The FBI unit, and I know I worked with these guys, I've cross-designated with them. That unit was superb. The box was so small.
Right.
Dave described the vehicle as the, first generation Chevy Avalanche, which means he knows his cars. You do a DMV database search for the Chevy Avalanche that shows up in Massapequa Park. Look at him, that person if you get a bang, a hit, right? Background of that person. Does he work in the other box that was calling Melissa Bartholomew? If he does, probably. What does he look like? Does he look like the description? Is he big? Does he look like an ogre? There's your man. That's what they did.
Right.
But years after.
In one of my videos, I have a former NYP detective, Bob Boyce, and he does like a show called New York Homicide on I think it's on Oxygen, and he was at one of the libraries and he did a presentation and he talks about the Chevy Avalanche and like what the mistake they made. And I forgot the mistake. They didn't do a bigger search when they looked for the Chevy. They didn't go search far enough. I got to go back and look at it specifically on the video, and then I'll let you know what he says.
It was not a good database that they used. That was the problem. There's multiple databases. Okay, I have them.
Right.
But more than that, there were LPR hits on it, license plate reader hits all over the place. And I got this from I know a lieutenant in the state police. And by the way, once they found that report, it was a female.
Yes, from the task force.
Yeah, but she worked for the state police. She was on the case for 30 days. She found that report. They had Rex in a half hour. That's a quote from her boss.
From her boss. Okay.
Okay. He had LPR hits all over the place there.
Right. So I think in the second documentary, you said that law enforcement is, they're lying about how she died, but why are they lying? Why would they say her death is a suicide if it wasn't?
there is a tendency
Okay.
for police
Okay.
all over the place because they're very much looked at stat-wise.
About their solve rate and
Solve rate, not only that, but the area. If a precinct
high crime area.
has a ton of homicides and robberies and whatnot, they try and code it down.
Okay.
They undercharge it, or they count it as an undercharge because they don't want to be looked at as being in a high crime area. That's just a general tendency.
Right.
Now you're Suffolk and you're Nassau,
Right.
and you've got Gilgo.
Right.
2 years later, do you want another homicide there right under your nose?
Right. Like
Of a girl?
Right.
Of a pretty girl?
Right.
Do you want that?
No.
No. It's a drowning. Why did they... Look. You have a woman, a young woman,
Right.
calling up from a house saying, people are trying to kill me. And you hear all this stuff in the background. I've listened to that. I actually didn't, I know John Ray,
Right.
he
He
accentuated.
fought. He went like he really fought for those tapes. He did a lot.
He fought for those tapes. Number one, number two. He took the tapes and he
He had them enhanced.
enhanced. That's it.
Yes, he did. He
I
did
enhanced the enhancement even further.
Okay.
I put into very good sound editing for software
Right.
for film,
Okay.
for making a film.
Right.
And even then, we had to go. Me and my team. We went syllable by syllable and wrote it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and some of the stuff they were saying, was pretty out there, and it's quite obvious. There was people outside that waiting for her, and she didn't want to go outside, but she wanted to go home. She just take me home. And Brewer says, why do you want to go home? And Pac says, you're already home.
That's what he said to her?
Yeah, it's pretty demonic.
Yeah.
And then she's running down the street screaming.
Right.
And she's begging for help. How are you without a body? How are you calling that an accident?
Right.
She froze to death, except that was a record-breaking day.
Yeah.
When she went missing, it was 60 degrees. It went up to over 80 on that was it May 1st?
Yeah, it was May 1st.
May 1st, it went up to over 80 that day, so she didn't freeze.
Right.
She drowned, except there's no water there. Right. John Ray says it, right?
Yeah.
I say it because I walked it.
So John Ray went there too.
He walked it with a team, a little girl just like Shannon. I walked it too. When we were making that video.
Yes.
We went across it and I walked right to where she died.
Right.
Soles of my feet didn't get wet. Look at Ocean Parkway there.
Right.
Army Corps of Engineers definitely looked at that when they built it. It's not graded.
Okay.
Which means the marsh is dry. And a bad storm, a nor'easter or a big heavy rainstorm, you're going to have water.
Right.
But normally no.
Wow. Okay. So
So she didn't. They said first off she froze. Well, it was the hottest day of the year.
And she froze. It took her pants off and all that stuff. And
here's where she takes her pants off, and her purse and her cell phone like in a circle and some other items here.
Right.
At the edge of the marsh.
Right.
Here's where they find her body. Here's Ocean Parkway. Almost the same distance where Rex put his bodies.
Right.
It's right by the parkway. People don't understand that. It's not in.
Right.
Okay, so it's right there on the parkway. And why would she strip her clothes off when she's running into this marsh and leave her phone, which is her lifeline?
Right, to getting out of there.
Now, these idiots call it paradoxical disrobing.
Yes.
That happens on Mount McKinley or Mount Everest when you're really freezing.
Right.
All of a sudden you're really, really freezing, and all of a sudden you get
extreme,
and you get and you rip your clothes off because you think you're burning up.
Right.
You're going crazy, basically. No, not there. And I've alpine climbed.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, way up. Okay, so I understand. No, she wasn't, and she's paradoxically disrobing her phone, which she used to call 911 in bed. What is that? That you assume that is a homicide. You don't assume.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to assume she froze. Well, it was hot. Well, I'm going to assume she drowned. Well, there's no water. She's high on drugs. Well, the limited drug testing they did on the brain tissue they found showed no drugs.
Showed no drugs. So it's just...
And you didn't get the surveillance footage And
They never did, no?
No. Nope. They never got surveillance footage. And my theory on this, and I didn't make it up, I was postulated by somebody else, is that she was in an escort service and she had broken away and she was basically freelancing. The story is with Pac, who was a driver, and Pac had no allegiance to anybody. And Pac was a convicted human trafficker already. What these escort services do, they do escorts, which is okay. You're not really going to get that jammed up when they take you down, right?
Right.
They do a tremendous ton of money laundering. I know because I had cases where I had clients. It was funny as heck. A client was laundered $1 million in 1 year through an escort service. And,
wow.
And I said, isn't this horrible, Judge? The poor man's addicted to sex. And this has to be strewn out for his wife to see. It was laundering the money.
Right.
The theory is she was going to dish on them, their money laundering.
Okay.
And they set her up to be killed. And Pac was in on it.
Wow.
Took her out there. And that fits what was said, where she doesn't want to go out.
Right.
People are waiting for her. And she talks to Pac and she said, you were in on this all along. You knew all along.
Right. All right. So, okay. So we know on March 16th, 2013, Natasha left her home with $100. Her mom gave her to buy the medication for the father.
That's the other thing.
Right.
How does she end up at Gilgo with that? But go ahead.
That's what. But she never made it there. Is there any video surveillance or like that shows that she drove past the Rite Aid? Like, what do you think happened to Natasha when she left the house with the $100 that was still found on her? But I believe it was still found on her when they found the body.
Okay. That Rite Aid's not there anymore, but I was still able to get images of it and whatnot from Google Earth. I believe it is a 0.7 mile trip. It's up the block, literally. It's 3 minutes,
right?
According to Google Minimap, right? So it's a 3-minute ride. Okay. It's 6:30. It's just starting to get dark. She takes a $100 bill and she puts it in her coat pocket. She doesn't put it in her wallet, in her purse, anything like that.
Right.
She just puts it in her pocket. Why? She knows she's going to rip it out in a couple of minutes. Why bother even opening,
Put it in your wallet. And take your wallet.
She knows she's going to, and when they find that robe or coat, it's still it's a coat. It's still in the pocket.
Okay.
They check for surveillance. There's nothing. I'm only relying on NYPD reports, obviously. I was not there.
Right.
But they talked, she was well known in that drugstore because her father was very ill. They talked to the manager and the people working there that night. They didn't see her. The medications were never picked up. To me, that indicates definitely she never made it there. What happened from her house during that 3 minutes to get there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's there's no witness that came forward, saw her get into a car or...
Newspapers talk about neighbors seeing her get in the car at 4:30, but I think the newspapers are just...
reaching?
I think they heard something and then they heard and heard.
They can't really get a definitive...
She leaves at 6:30, her mom calls, it was almost midnight, and says, my daughter hasn't come home. It was almost midnight when she called the mom.
Wow.
She waited a little long. But she was, an adult now. Now she had driven to Florida and back before.
Natasha.
With her brother. So she wasn't shut in a room. Like they say schizophrenic. Oh, like she's crazy. I mean, you have CEOs of major corporations.
Right. I mean, there's a stigma against stuff like that, but
she was highly functional.
Right. Right.
But she never had a job.
All right. So I think we'll make this the last question. In the video, you mentioned all the sex offenders and the serial killers, like Stephen Arnold, the torso killer, Richard Cunningham, who lived in Massapequa Park, with his uncle. I think Cunningham's uncle lived there, and he was living there for a while. And, and Rex Human, should the Gilgo Beach Task Force commit resources and be proactive and look for bodies in the preserve? And they have all this money, and I know they're concentrating on the case and the prosecution, but you would like this, how many bodies could be in this preserve or even in the Pine Barrens? And if they have this money, I mean, law enforcement in general is more reactive than proactive, but wouldn't that be help? And they can have like even volunteer, there'd be plenty of people that would be more than willing to help look, try to find, people's missing loved ones or whatever. And
Roy DeMeo was also in Massapequa Park.
oh wow.
Yeah, a lot more other people were there. If you look at the video,
Right.
Oh,
Is it because of the preserve and they can put bodies there? Is that?
There's a mafia burial ground right next door to Massapequa Park. We walked that preserve. It is a nightmare to search. It is very swampy, marshy. You have a huge rectangle, and in the center of it, encompassing most of the space, is another rectangle, basically of marsh and swamp.
Right, so it's not easy to.
It would not be an easy search. I want to say yes, search it, but then if you were to search the Northern Parkway and the Southern Parkway,
right,
from the Queens line to the end,
okay,
along the the woods that line it, it's wooded on the sides.
right.
If you were to search that, how many bodies do you think you would find?
I don't know. I don't know. It's it's
how many,
troubling to think.
If you look at the task force, the cold case task force now,
Right.
You know how many they found in Dix Hills? I think they found like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But they didn't find them. They're just found.
Right. But usually someone's walking their dog or whatever.
Yeah, and it's especially summer. It's thick, but even in winter. Now the day after they caught Rex Human that evening, that day I went to a body site on right near where they found Tina almost. It's the where the southern and you have the Robert Moses Causeway.
Right.
So it's on right, isn't that yeah. And it was right there by the circle where you, and it's on the causeway, and it was in the woods, and a driver saw it.
Right.
And it was a guy named Isaiah Henriquez or something like that. He went to the Puspatock Indian Reservation.
That's more like in the Mastic Shirley
area. Yeah, he went
area.
there to score some marijuana, and that's where he disappeared. His friends say it was a scene of untold violence where they found the body. I was there as they were carting it out. That case is still not solved.
Right. Well, that happened that would be on like tribal land.
Well, he was found
on tribal.
No, he was found on the Robert Moses Causeway.
Oh, okay.
I mean, right there where you take it I'm going west on the Southern Parkway. You take that causeway, you go around that circle, you come in, come down, and you look down, and right there on the side. I mean, I was there when they were recovering. It was a huge scene.
Right.
A lot of I mean, the state police is involved there because it's a parkway. State, local police, and whatnot. And that case is 2 years unsolved now.
Wow.
And I don't think it's any. It's just going to. Sandra Petty did a good article on it, and there's a great video, The Forgotten.
Oh,
And slowly but surely, the families just don't hear anything.
Yeah, it just kind of goes away.
And they never hear anything like Laura Parker, which to me is the stupidest thing. I mean, first of all, they say she ran away, but her locker contained her purse with her lipstick and all the stuff that a girl would have
in her bag.
And they see her at 8th period. She's going to softball practice. That she loves softball. She never shows up.
Right.
All this stuff is in her locker, and they say she ran away. And then months later, after the summer, they find her body in this fort. We call it. They called it the hut. We used to call it forts back in. I was a kid during that day.
Fort, yeah.
You dig a hole and you put like plywood over it and whatnot, and she's found in there, a skeleton. And the head of homicide, Gallagher, says we think she died of natural causes. What a jerk. I mean, what a putz. I'm sorry.
No, I get
No.
it. It's hard to it is hard to believe that was just she died of like exposure to the elements or
She crawled in the summer.
Oh,
It
in
was
the
a
summer. Oh yeah.
Late spring.
Late spring.
And through the summer,
Yeah.
she crawled into that hole and just died. You know, and there was a police officer that lived in Lindenhurst at the time, Suffolk County police officer. Her son
Right.
was seen with her.
Okay. So that's
Where did that go? I
where
don't
you
know.
right. No one knows. You
Nobody
can't
knows.
just say just because.
I mean, I
that
looked
doesn't-
them up.
Right. You
They're,
can't
they're
make.
still alive.
Yeah, you can't make accusations.
No, I
without
can't.
founding,
I
right.
just, all I can say is this is where I would look.
Right. As a starting point.
Oh yeah, well that's what you do.
Right.
You I knew a city police a detective, and when that jogger was killed on
The Central Park jogger?
no, not the Central Park jogger. The jogger was killed. Beautiful girl. She's jogging there on like where the Northern meets the Grand Central, kind of in Queens.
Okay.
Is it the North? No, I think it's the Southern Parkway, the Belt. It's on the Belt. Yeah, and it's in that marshy area.
Okay.
And she's jogging down the Belt, and she's raped and killed. Horrible case. They got the guy, and they convicted him, and it was a tough conviction. And he said, I had to show up at the wake and interview her father.
Oh my God.
Why? The father's a suspect.
Really?
Family's always a suspect. Most murders are people you know. And he said, it felt horrible. And he said, the father was unbelievable. He said, I understand. You have to interview me. You clear me. Let's go. We go to a room, and I'll tell you anything you want to know. Because the father found her. Because he went searching.
Right.
And so that's just the way it is. You have to look at
Everybody.
everybody. Traditional suspects are the first people you look at. And traditional suspects are based upon patterns, that statistical patterns. It's going to be someone. It's going to be your boyfriend, your husband, member of family. That's how most people are killed.
This is the last question, and I know I asked you this off camera, but I want to ask you on camera. Brian Kohlberger took the plea, but Idaho has the death penalty, and I know New York doesn't. But if the federal authorities got involved, they can make it a death penalty case. Would that be enough, you think, to make him switch his plea to guilty? If they took and then said we'll take the death penalty off the table or whatever, just as a way, do you think they would do that? Do you think if they did, and I know this is just speculation, if they did do that, if they would do it, and would he take the deal to avoid the death penalty?
I know from working with the feds, the so-called feds, they're very loath to take a case like this.
Okay.
It's not really a federally built case. There's no real federal murder statute, where it's pure murder. There's other, mob activity, things like that.
I mean, like, I know there's
I just don't see him
it's
taking
like a
it.
human trafficking component to that. Would that play into it or not so much?
I mean, if they want to grab jurisdiction, I'm sure they can. I just don't see them wanting to do it. And
Right.
They can have concurrent jurisdiction.
Okay.
I would imagine. I mean, no. I don't think. Well, yeah. Is it double jeopardy? No, double jeopardy. It wouldn't be, because double jeopardy has to do what they call a sovereign. A sovereign would be a state or a federal government.
Right.
State is the different sovereign than a federal. That's just the legalese. So for instance, when they prosecuted the cops in the state court system,
Right.
For beating up Rodney King, and they were cleared, the federal government was able to bring a prosecution, and you couldn't assert double jeopardy because it was a different sovereign. So I suppose I suppose they both could get a crack at it. I just don't. I don't see the federal government taking this case.
Okay.
And the thing is a lot of these guys, like Joel Rifkin right now.
Right. Yeah.
He's in protective custody.
Yeah, I know.
Not protective.
Isolate. He's like
he's not
solitary.
Isolation.
Like
no. They put him there,
right?
And he sued. They put him there because he got into an argument with Colin Ferguson over who had the best killings, basically.
Oh God!
And Ferguson decked him, and so they put him in solitary. He sued to get out of solitary. He lost, but in any event, there's a population of like people, sexual offenders,
right,
that are isolated from
for their
other
own
people,
protection.
For their own protection, and that's who he's with now. So I think you could try, and the what's his name postulates that the happy face killer, Jez person,
Keith Jesperson.
Yeah. He says he should make a deal for protective custody, but I think he's going to get that anyway.
Just because of the nature of the case.
Exactly.
Because it's very hard.
If I was in prison and I was, looking at a lot of time, maybe life, maybe,
right.
I would love him as a trophy. I'd love to be the guy that killed him.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people in prison don't respect what he did.
Right.
And he wouldn't last.
Yeah, no, he'd have to be in protect.
Yeah. So I don't see him pleading guilty.
You don't think, because there was that rumor after this last Fry hearing a couple of days ago on Thursday. I guess the defense had a witness, and I don't think it didn't really go well, and there might be a third witness they'd like to present. But then this rumor kind of popped up around that, saying that, and he was asked, Michael Brown, and he said no, he's pleading not guilty. He's not, he's not changing his plea, but I just figured maybe since that was kind of rumored going around, it's just a rumor that maybe
anything
something on the table, like that we're unaware of, like if the feds were coming in, or we just don't. Time will tell.
I mean, anything can happen. I don't see it, and
because this is a really high profile case, so I've just under different circumstances.
I know this too. Tierney would never let it go.
Okay.
Never. I mean, he's
done a lot of work.
Not only that, he's doing things that you generally don't do. I mean, he's the DA,
right?
And yet he's there. He's like a line prosecutor, acting like a line prosecutor.
Yes, he has.
The real brain is that guy Bode, however you pronounce his name. He's the real. He's good. He's a good litigator. I mean, I read his writing and whatnot. He's really good. I don't see Tierney letting the case go. So if it was going to be a handoff to the feds, definitely not.
Okay. All right. Wow, it was a lot. We went through a lot. Thank you so much for meeting with me. And if I'm sorry I was late. It's okay. But if something comes up, maybe we could meet again and do a continuation.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Thank you again. Thanks. Bye.